Hi, Nkosi.
Hi, Nkosi.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome, Nkosi. I was just about to. I'll just. So for me, all is this. Let's just stay with that, if we could.
That's it. So, all is this. So, whatever may happen, may seem to happen, it's just this expressing as that. So, whatever anyone may seem to say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change this. There might be swearing. There might be anger arising. There might be someone standing up, going somewhere. So it's just this, expressing as that. So there isn't any separation. There is no separation. There is no this and some things happening outside of this. No. All is this. All is this. Thoughts appearing, including thoughts appearing, feelings changing, sensations, a feeling of letting go, a feeling of giving up, hatred, even separation, a feeling of separation. All is this. So there's nothing outside of this. So there's just life expressing itself. There's no you in it. And as well, this message is not for anyone. It's not for you. Because there's no you, there's just life. There's never been a you. So what seems to be a you who's waiting for anything to happen right now is just life expressing as that. It's just life. Life talking, life waiting for something to happen. Life waiting to disappear. So everything is beautiful because everything is just an expression of this. And this is impersonal. This is not personal. This is impersonal because there's no person here. It's just this. What seems to be an individual may happen to collapse, and it may seem to be recognized that it's just life, and nobody will recognize that. It will be life recognizing that there was only just life. There's never been an individual. There's never been any character doing anything. So already right now, in the midst of searching, there's no character. There's no you. There's just life searching. There's never been a you. And right here, this is not trying to convince anyone. There's just talking happening. And nobody's talking. Nobody's waiting for anything here. Nobody's doing anything. Because there isn't anyone here. It's just life. You can call it life. You can call it wholeness. You can call it everything. Doesn't matter. You can call it mouse, raccoon, chicken. It doesn't matter. It's just as it is for itself, for nobody. And what seems to be thoughts appearing, they don't mean anything. There's just thoughts appearing. And they seem to float by. They seem to be floating by. There may be a thought that says, I don't like this. It's just floating by. I don't like what he's saying. There's just a thought appearing in this. Oh, I hate this. Just a thought appearing in this. I love this. That's just a thought. There's no real somebody behind that thought. It's just a thought appearing in this. Everything is this. And there's no you in it. It's just this. And this is nothing appearing as everything. Including what seems to be you looking for this, sounds appearing, movement that seems to happen, coughing, sneezing,
Laughing.
and can go
Laughing.
ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the immediacy of what Nkosi is pointing at is it's this right here. So it's literally how you're, if you scratch your head, if you hear a word a certain way, if you start to think, that's this. There's no you doing that. As Nkosi said to Alice, you've never done anything.
Some words that just came when I was listening to Nkosi. They're beautiful. It was like like a child listening to a lullaby of remembering what we're not. They're very soothing words.
Yeah, another beautiful example I liked from Nkosi and House was when Nkosi reminded us that the mind doesn't say, oh yeah, I'm the one doing the blinking. Okay, now I blink. I got to keep remembering to blink and to do that job. No, never thinks about those things, right? And now you can just apply that to everything. Do your thoughts go, oh yeah, I got to remember to grow my hair today.
I got to remember to suffer today.
Exactly. Good one, Joyce.
I've been remembering that one a lot.
Okay, so let's look now. Can we find that one? The one that's been worrying a lot lately. Right now, let's look.
No, it seems funny. After you said that, I could step back and, yeah. At the time, it sure feels like there's someone there. Sure feels like suffering. But right now, no.
It's because you're a good actor. You know, all these parts, right? Life is playing, this is playing all the characters. And when I say all the characters, I mean everything. So the wall is this. The computer screen is this. These words are being played by this. It's all being played by this.
It's like this, the suffering that comes, or the activation, the energy, the feelings, the emotions feel like passing storms. You don't really know where they're coming from, but they arise and they can be disruptive. You know, I, John, have had a pretty disrupted week, pretty noisy week, and yet in the midst of the storm, you can still look, and if there's enough space to see the storm for what it is, not you, then there's sort of an immediate remembering that this is the opportunity to just to reflect on the residual assumptions or habits that are still in the human experience that keep you in supposed separation, the idea of separation, the thought of separation. And that reminder is like the, I don't know, it feels like the catalyst that just burns off the thought habits that keep you in suffering and separation. So there are opportunities. There are always opportunities. Something else that came up this week was a lot of people talk about seeking and how, you know, they've been seeking for many years, and and I was kind of, I remember feeling a bit confused by that, because what happened here wasn't, I think only a few years ago I was looking at the word seeking and I thought, I don't really know what that meant, because I just realized after looking into it, after a lot of talk with all these groups and things, that I actually don't think I was seeking. You know, that John, I think the character John was exploring the body sensations and stress, and, you know, just to find peace, but it wasn't actually to find the ultimate understanding of what's going on. So the word seeking, it never really came across in this experience. It was more, I suppose, what happened, and it is all spontaneous. It is all, life is just unfolding this way with its own momentum. But that felt like the exploration came from the body and experiences and meditation. Although it's not necessary, it seemed like a tool that allowed that to start relaxing into space, and then sort of the rest unfolded. This whole non-duality exploration kind of came by surprise, I think. Wasn't looked for. It just unfolded, which feels like, because that's even more of a pointing back to the spontaneity of life doing what it's doing. Sorry if I might have dropped out there. I think I seem to have lost people, lost your screen. The internet connection's not so good here.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out a little bit, not too bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I know a lot of people are looking, a lot of people are searching and straining and trying to find enlightenment, you know, that word. And just saying, for me, it was never really looked for. It wasn't really searched for. It wasn't really what was missing. So I think there's a lot of different paths that life unfolds and discovers its natural essence. And it can happen through thoughts, or it can happen through, I've noted a lot of, you know, a lot of women, female, seem to have an energy that feels the body more. And sometimes there seems to be a propensity, if you're going to categorize that men are more absorbed in the thought of trying to get through these problems. I think it's both, you know, or none, or neither really. It's not either, but whatever way it unfolds, it can unfold. It's just, it was this, you know, these groups are good because they sort of stir up things to be explored. And I suppose why these groups happen is because life's exploring itself and just trying to understand ways through back to itself, to remembering to forget. It's the only way to put it, to letting go of that identification. And once again, you know, I had a conversation during the week, and it was with someone I expected to, and it's I having an expectation. The remnant, the resonance of a separate self, it still definitely plays here with John. It's not devoid of that at all. But every time it's coming up, it's like the reminder to go, oh, that's happening now. So it's sort of embraced. It's loved as it is. It's unconditionally loved as it is. It's not. Those we spoke about, I think, last week, those failings of the human to be free of any thoughts of self-separation and identification, those failings, when they appear, I think a lot of spiritual seekers would beat themselves up and say, oh, I should have done that better. I wish I could have worked through. I thought I'd lost that. I'd come back again. I lost it. All those things. And they're just the same. They're just the same energy, just the same intelligent expression of life. But it's very tricky for the human mind to let go of that when it's been contracted and assuming a certain way the whole time. The human brain has this process, from observation, just trying to work out the way to let go, and just none of this is important. None of this is important. It's just a kind of looking into what can happen with the human mind or brain or whatever. This expression seems to have this way of doing things. And we are biology interacting. We're biology interacting. The biological organism has this natural inbuilt instinct for survival, which gets blended with thoughts, which then become I, and then all of that needs to defend itself from dying. It's quite humorous the way it happens, but it's also it's like a big game, like a big game happening. And if we can start to look at the clues, and that's what these groups, that's what Nkosi's talks are about. You know, if they resonate, there's a reason they resonate. So different words come out of different mouths. There's different words coming out of this mouth, John's mouth, and yours, Michael, and whoever else participates. They're all just different words, and it's just life just tickling itself with interaction to sort of find its nature, find its balance, find its peace. I've wandered all over the place there, but that tends to happen. But I was just going to say that those opportunities come up from day to day, just to remind us to the experience that's happening can be taken as the storm, which is insurmountable, and you can feel like you're in the eye of the storm and can't do anything about it. And you can't, because there isn't anyone there to do anything about it. You are part of that. You are that interactive storm that's moving and passing, and that can be thoughts and life and energy, and but the bodily experience that we are interacting through right now is here. Apparently, the bodily interaction is here. The words are coming out of biology, and I've said before that biology is a lifetime, possibly many, or life, you know, whatever, however it works. I'm not going to get into reincarnation and concepts, but the word that's coming here, that word, this wholeness, anything that's coming here, I don't know what the next one's going to be. Literally, don't know what in 5 seconds, have no idea. That's why I'm wandering all over the place, because I don't try to control it anymore. It just wanders. It just does what it's doing. And there's still this contraction, relaxing. So half of this is tarnished by, I don't know, however much is tarnished by life experience or shaped and filtered by life experience. And the rest is somehow itself expressing itself. It's all itself expressing itself, but I can sort of, as this human, I can almost see the two, not duality. It's an awareness through being a human being of what this whole interaction is doing. It's a very strange thing to try to describe. I just think something that maybe seekers that are on the cusp of accept or opening to this is that nothing that they're doing or thinking or is out of, as Nkosi was saying, separate from anything else. It's all the same expression. That doesn't matter. If thoughts come that aren't ideal, it's beautiful. It's the same energy, same expression, just doing it a different way. So what I'm trying to get at is that the seeker trying to think that they're imperfect because they haven't got this understanding should love that. Just allow it to be what it is. Nothing, there's no one there to change it. But the human biology just has this contracted sense of I am separate. I am running this. And what I was trying to say before is that the human brain seems to, it just has a reflex of summarizing. You know, even scientists say that, you know, we just see patterns, we summarize and we assume. And that's how the whole sense of separate self has come about. The brain, as biology, summarizes, and this is the expression through which that is being interacted. So it's, you know, we can say I need to be perfectly at peace the whole time, but it doesn't seem to express that way. The human experience seems to have these polarities, and they are just the passing storms that nobody is doing, and we are in it. We are of it, and we are expressing and interacting as that. And we seem to spend most of our time searching for the solutions out, how we can fix all these things and get through. And groups like this is really like saying, hang on a sec, let's just really look into point one from which all decisions and perspective and judgments are made from, because most human beings don't look at that. They just start at point two. But point one is the thing that textures and flavors everything that's perceived. And point one, looking into point one, the supposed separate self, completely reconfigures everything that's viewed. And yet it's very, very, I had a conversation this week and I was just talking about this stuff, and I could see the person just looking everywhere. It was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable for a person that doesn't want to see any of this to actually touch it. And I think anyone that's in these groups is probably has life has just pushed through that resistance barrier of fear, which is once again the biology of human being trying to stay intact. It's a very interesting, it's a really interesting cocktail of life expressing.
I often wonder, can you hear me? Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you, Faith.
Yeah, I often wonder about us people who are drawn to this, and if we have a certain personality type, or if maybe we're all sufferers more than other people, or I don't know. Do you think there's any characteristic of people who are drawn to this, that maybe a particular number on the Enneagram or something that is drawn to this that other people are not?
Faith, who are you asking?
Everybody, anybody?
Faith, it feels like, I'll say a little comment that just popped in. It felt like trying to explain how grains of sand has their particular shape.
Okay.
It's so complex. It's so complex how that individual expression with infinite variables ends up doing this or that, and looking for those answers kind of just is like it's part of the blockage. Those answers, yes, it might be that certain experiences in life have contributed to this human being, this brain, this life, apparent life, whatever you want to call it, this apparent separate person. But it's the more I've kind of explored and looked and integrate. It doesn't. That's just silly words. They're all just silly words because it's just happening. You know, even just saying, oh, I've looked into this, it just feels inauthentic. It doesn't feel real. It just feels like this is all doing what it's doing. And when we pluck ourselves out of that as a separate sense of thinking and say, I wonder why firstly, it doesn't matter. Not with all due respect, you know, I'm not trying to diminish anything you're saying, because they're all, everything's a beautiful exploration, and everything is the same. This is the same as what's there. This is just hearing it a different way and responding a different way, but it's the same life. So, but and have no idea where that image came from, a grain of sand, you know, taking a particular minuscule shape in the infinite blowing of the winds and whatever's going on, and that grain of sand tumbles down the hill better than the rest, or differently from the rest. Yeah, it's just what happened. And
Yeah,
whoever's listening or talking here, it's just what's happening.
Yeah, thanks for having a go at that, John. I just realised it's just me, the mind trying to make sense of something, and I'm not going to be able to make sense of it. So sometimes in this group, it's just good for me to bring a question, and somehow then I see the silliness or the unnecessariness of it. And yeah, I think it's because the mind takes over and it does its little thing, and I've come to this group because I don't want the mind taking over. I don't want it doing its little thing. So
You want to stop that grain of sand falling down the hill that you are.
maybe. Yeah, anyway, thank you.
And the words aren't supposed to undermine or diminish or judge at all. They're not. We're just having some nice, you know, caring, compassionate interaction. That's literally the space that feels like from here. It's not. You know, if it sounds like joking at you, it's not.
No. Mm-hmm.
It's all interacting. What you just said is good for some this or that, or it's all interacting. There's nothing that's wrong.
Well, we get back to Michael. Sorry, we get back to Michael saying all is this. So
yeah, and this can't be known.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question, which this came stemming from what I said earlier, but stemming from this too. It's like when I said I chose suffering. I mean, is suffering just arising too? Or is suffering a resistance to what is? Nkosi, what do you think? I have no idea what you're going to say.
You know, this has no opposites. No.
Has no what? Sorry.
There is no opposites.
Openness.
Opposite.
Opposites.
Opposite.
Yeah, it's just this appearing as that, appearing as suffering. And the one who says I'm suffering is just a thought appearing. There's no real somebody behind the thought. It's just a thought appearing in this.
So there's no
actually,
choice.
There's no suffering.
There's no choice.
Because there's nobody to make a choice. So it's all what's happening. Nobody's doing anything. There's nobody who's suffering. There's nobody who's asking a question right now. It's just a question arising from this. Everything appears and disappears. There's just life, and there's nobody who's living life. There's no sufferer. Because when the sufferer is looked for, cannot even be found. Even the one looking is not found. So there's no one here. It's just life. As pressing as that.
How can it be so intense and so seemingly personal when I'm in it, one's in it, and now it's clear that it doesn't exist?
Yeah, it's just what seems to be happening. And there's no why. It's just life. There's no why. And there's no escape. Nothing can escape this. Whatever you may seem to think or say or do, it's just this doing it. There isn't a you behind that already. There might be a thought that says, but I'm here. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. And it's not real. But it's not even there. That's why I always say thoughts are always late. They seem to be late. Because this is immediate. This is right here. And it's not here for anyone. It's just here for itself. It cannot be known. It cannot be held in view. It cannot be seen. It's beyond description.
Joyce, I'll throw something out there too, which is, in your human form, I mean, we can say that's this too, but we have programming, right? We have wiring, we have old behaviors. So in your human form, if you're having a reaction, I don't think that's very abnormal. But I think the purpose of this group is to recognize that the difference between, acting out of an old behavior versus coming back to a place of, I call it formlessness. It's probably a synonym with this, and so anyway, I hope that helps, because I feel like I think people sometimes will beat themselves up over, oh, I'm supposed to accept everything as this, but then I have this program come up. And so I think while we're having a discussion, it's okay to know that maybe I have an old default that goes into a heavy program or some drama or the future or the past. But also, as you notice, you said you almost instantly have come to a place of peace. To me, it means you've somehow figured it out, or this shone through, and you were able to relax back into what already is beyond the mind.
When I'm in it and I search for it, that's all I can see is the chaos. But when I'm in a group like this and there's a certain thisness, then I look for it, and it's silly. There's nothing there. Can really.
Joyce, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What sees the chaos?
Yeah. Or like what feels the chaos.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. If there was someone there to feel and see the chaos, then there wouldn't be only this. But God, I've sure been stuck in it. I'm in awe of the ability. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would I ever choose that? but apparently I'm not, because there's no one here. So I give up. I don't know why.
No, but there is feedback. I mean, the things that we talk about does change the experience of being a character, even if that character does not exist, right? People that go around are angry all the time, and people on the street, they got the lives that are more complicated than people that don't, right? There's patterns that make us suffer. And, a lot of the things that Nkosi is talking about get right to the core of letting go of expectation, responsibility, desires, fears, unacceptance of what is, that is the root of all suffering. And that's really what the Buddha preached, right? Is that, there is suffering, life is suffering, and that, through a process not dissimilar to what we're talking about here, that you can dissolve that suffering. Now, who is the you that dissolves that suffering? We can talk about that too, but that doesn't. There's still cause and effect in human behavior and things that you can do to dissipate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's if it were just allowed and noticed and as a phase, what's happening, then there wouldn't be the reaction and the judgment and the tension in the body. It would just be like maybe an energy that's felt of, oh, like John, you were talking about. I get in trouble when this is bad, this is good, this hurts, this feels, and it should be different because I'm 73 years old. I've been doing this a long time and still go back into those same old patterns. I mean, life's been hard lately for us, and there's a lot of reactivity going on to what life kind of puts forth rather than just writing it out. And that hurts. And there's a lot of judgment that it shouldn't be that way, mostly because it hurts. It's so uncomfortable. Thank you all for your comments.
The judgment sometimes hurts more than the hurt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I see, it's like, to me, it's like what John was talking about with the polarity. The human experience is fraught with polarity. And a lot of times suffering is getting us to see something that's wrong with how we're perceiving something.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. You're a sweetheart. You always come through at the end.
Oh, it's 7:00.
Thank you all.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
I do have a comment, and Joyce, happy to help. I think the arriving meditation at the beginning, the silence, I'm going to just speak on behalf of me. It sounds so funny when we say the word me. It's like Groucho Marx, right? And the word. I just find it's so much more. It's really valuable. It's very grounding. I feel like as a group, it's a really great connector, and we just kind of arrive. So I just wanted to share that feedback that I really liked tonight. That there was an extended few minutes of silence. I really enjoyed that. So thank you.
And I'll just say one more thing that's just reiterating some of the things is that looking, none of that stuff is happening to anyone. But it's when you're already at step 2, I'm just breaking it down into concepts and words, but when you're already at step 2 and don't look in the rearview mirror, it can't be seen. So it's the age-old question of finding out what is the perspective, what is is this interactive perspective, this individuated perspective point? What is it actually first? And it answers all the others. It changes all of the experiences and the suffering and the emotions, because it all comes back to what is the primary point of this that we identify as. And as a little, the same, it's been said many, many times, but it's also worked here when it's, when there's noise and there's life, because, John, I still have a life. I still get caught up in things, and it's not all peace and calm. It's challenging sometimes, and they are, but there's enough space now to see those as reminders, and each time it's like another opportunity to sort of see the wiring, the remnants in the human experience. But that age-old question of just sitting sometimes, and just in fact, those very poignant moments of intense emotion, suffering, are absolutely jewels if this essence is looking for itself. Because just the simple turning around and really just looking, really honestly, courageously looking into the pain and going, who is feeling this exactly? Where? Who? What? Where exactly? What is it? And it doesn't need to be an answer. That's the thing, because the human brain will go, I've got to work it out. I've got to have an answer. I've got to have an object to cling to. I've got to find that thing. But it's just the seeing that it's not. And so turning around and going, who exactly is feeling this intense emotion, the suffering, and then just leaving it hanging. And the mind will want to make it just allowing that counterintuitive being. It then everything just falls away. Anyway, in this experience, that sometimes works for if there needs to be a remembering.
Has anything that's been shared tonight been helpful? Okay, that one doesn't exist.
What?
The one
What?
you think got helped doesn't exist.
Feels better though.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
coming. Nkosi, brother, thank you so much. I'll get this up on YouTube in the next 24. Have a great evening, everybody.
Great to see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.